as you can imagine, if you understood the analysis, pawn to a5. The rook cannot move here, cannot move here, cannot move here. The rook is trapped on b3. Hey guys, a Pacific training game with a friend became a spectacular battle in a Pirc Defense. I'm playing with black here and my opponent is a FIDE master. We are playing a preparation game for an upcoming tournament, and this is what happened. I played d6 and then after d4, knight f6, and then after knight e3 we have a Pirc Defense on the board. At this point my opponent played this suspicious line, pawn to h3. It's a side line, not very common, so I just decided to continue with normal development for this kind of positions. So I played here bishop g7, then he plays bishop e3, and well, I thought that he might be planning some ideas with queen d2 and maybe some bishop a6 later, as it happens in the 150 attack. So I decided to play this move a6 so I can get ready to expand on the queen side if necessary. My opponent plays a4 to prevent my b5, and then there is this move also typical for these positions, queen to a5. Right now I'm taking the pawn on e4 because there is a pin here. White plays queen d2, and at this point I played a bad move. I made an instructive mistake, and there is the move pawn to b5. b5 seems to be interesting because I'm threatening b4 and I'm taking the pawn on e4 if I can actually play that. So I said, well, what's wrong with this? This has to be a good thing, right? So I played b5, and of course he cannot capture because the rook is hanging here. However, there is a surprise. There's a fantastic move here for white, and they are getting decisive advantage. White can play here the amazing b4. The idea is that they want to distract the queen so they can actually capture and get the pawn back on b5. So after b4, I don't have too many options. Probably I have to capture there. They will play a takes b5, and in this position white is much better. My queen is trapped. They have good development, good center, and there are many situations where my queen is going to be in big trouble. For example, if they can develop pieces and castle, they are playing rook b1 here, and I don't have too many ways to escape with the queen. Probably giving material back I can escape, but in general we should say that white is going to be better. So this is an instructive mistake here. b5 is not a good move. There is b4 and distracts my queen so they can take here, and that's very good for white. So don't forget this typical idea. Well, at this point my opponent played bishop to d3, and I continued here with castling kingside, and there is knight f3, knight bd7, normal development for the queen side. White castles, the rook is defended now, so I must be careful with this capture. I decided to play b4, which is a nice idea, getting some space, forcing the knight back. White plays here knight to e2, and then this also typical idea, c5. We created a chain of pawns here. We have the bishop on the red diagonal. Also we are opening the other bishop, and we are undermining white's center. White plays here knight to e3, and then of course bishop to b7. Rook f e1 is improving the rook because this file is very likely to be open soon. And then this nice idea, pawn to c4. As I have so much pressure here on e4, this is a good moment to distract the bishop and take the pawn. In that way we are going to break this connection in the center. So c4 is a nice move. We are getting at least an equal mid game with this move. White plays bishop c4, they have no choice. Knight takes e4, knight takes, and then bishop takes e4. Good thing is that I have the capture on f3, damaging the pawn structure. My opponent played here bishop to g5, and that is that he has so much pressure here and also a lot of pressure here on e7. He knows I can damage his pawn structure in front of the king, but also he knows that the pressure here is too much. So he might be able to get the pawn on e7, or maybe the pawn on d6 after some fork with bishop e7. So that's why he accepts the damage in the pawn structure to get some material. I thought, well, I might lose something here, but actually I should have compensation as the king is going to be discovered. The position is going to be very interesting after this. So I took, he takes back, and then this move, pawn to e6. I'm going to lose the pawn on d6, but we are fine with that. Bishop to e7, rook f c8. You cannot take the pawn directly because I'm attacking the bishop. However, white has this move, bishop to b5. Right now white is attacking here, white is attacking here. So probably I'm going to lose something. Observe that the move queen c7, defending here and here, is not working as they can capture on b4. So definitely I'm losing one pawn. But this is not the end of the world, because my knight is coming from d7 to d5. And we have a pawn down, but a really good knight on d5, also a very good bishop on g7. My king is much safer, his king is discovered, and also his pawn structure is damaged. So I play knight f6, he takes my pawn on d6, and then knight to d5. Observe how important this knight is, how strong it is there. The move c4 is never working because I can capture en passant here. So my knight is like a very good piece, like probably one of my best pieces in this position. At this point, we should say that there is compensation here for the pawn down. In this position, my opponent played a mistake, an important mistake, decisive mistake in the game. He's going to play here bishop to c5, and here he's black to move, and there is a fantastic move that fortunately I could find in the game. There is an exchange, sacrifice, and talking about the move, rook takes c5. That is that I'm going to lose the exchange, but actually I'm going to get the exchange back very soon, because I'm going to capture here on g7, threatening this rook, but also threatening bishop to c3. So I'm going to get one of those back, one of those rooks. And the good thing is that after that trade happens, something like this is going to be on the board, like his pawn structure is going to be a disaster, and my knight is still great on d5, and his king is still discovered. So basically I'm getting the pawn back here with this sequence, and also I'm damaging his pawn structure so much that I will have a decisive advantage. So this move, rook takes c5, is actually very strong here, and is getting an important advantage for black. So rook c5, d takes, and then bishop to b2. After this, white plays rook b1, and of course bishop to c3, queen e2, bishop takes, and queen takes e1. And here there is another special move, really important, knight to c3. The idea is that this knight is going to dominate this rook. In the game, he plays rook b3, trying to keep the pressure here on b4. However, there will be a problem later. After a6, bishop to c6. I should have played here rook c8, attacking both the bishop and the pawn at the same time, getting the pawn on c5 very soon. Actually, the move here is the move that I played here is a little inaccurate, and it is rook d8. I thought I'm either taking the pawn on c5 or threatening the pin on d1, so this is going to be winning, but actually I missed here queen to e5. Very strong move. We were under time pressure, and here he's defending both things, the queen and the pawn at the same time. Of course, I'm still winning, but it was much simpler with rook c8, take the pawn, and the rook cannot move. We're going to talk about that rook very soon. So I played rook d8, queen e5, and well, I tried to fix my mistake by playing rook c8, and white plays here queen d6, and then there is this important move, queen to c7. Very accurate. The idea is that I'm going to force a trade of queens here, and also I have time to play the move a5. That is a move key in this position, because once I play a5, the rook is trapped forever in the game. So queen c7 is getting a tempo with the threat of the bishop, so I can play the move a5 soon, and once I play a5, the rook is not playing, so I'm just playing with an extra rook, or a rook versus a bishop on the other side of the board. In the game, bishop to e4, queen takes d6, c takes d6, and then, as you can imagine, if you understood the analysis, pawn to a5. The rook cannot move here, cannot move here, cannot move here. The rook is trapped on b3. Basically, I have a rook versus a bishop. We can think of this position like this. Rook and 4 pawns versus bishop and 4 pawns, for example. And of course, this is totally won because also the pawn structure is very bad on the king side. Well, in the game, d7, rook d8, bishop c6. Actually, the rest is simple. King f8, king f1, and then king e7. As my king is getting so active, white decided to give the exchange here. And after pawn takes king e2, I decided to activate my rook and control the pawn with the king. Bishop b5, and now I'm going to maneuver to defend my pawn on c3. King d3, rook c7, king d4, f6. Now I'm going to work on the king side because I need to create a passed pawn over there. White plays f4, h5, h4. I'm just making some tempo here So they run out of moves, f3 and then king e7. The king has to go back. They don't have moves. The bishop cannot move. They need to move the king back to e3. And now I can maneuver with my rook c5, reinforcing the break on g5. The king controls everything over here. Bishop to d3, g5, f takes, king d4, and then rook d5 check. And this is game over because I'm getting the passed pawn here on the h file, and there's nothing here for white. So we are winning. Important moments in this game, we should highlight the position in the opening where I played b5. It's an instructive mistake that we should not forget. If you're a Pirc defense player, well, keep in mind this kind of ideas. He distracts and he takes, and we are not well in those positions because the queen is more or less trapped over there. Another important moment is when I decided to play the move here. He played a mistake, and I found the amazing rook takes e5, getting a pawn and the exchange back, and also a much better pawn structure, which is going to be turned into a material advantage later. And finally, another interesting moment is here when I was able to play the move pawn to a5. This is going to trap white rook, and this is going to give me a decisive advantage in this game. So thank you guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have any question, let me know in the comments. Check out this video over here. I'm sure you will enjoy it. Thank you. Like, subscribe, play the right move, and see you on the next.